here you are about to do this PhD and then you decide, no, I'm going to go in this direction. What has helped you define your voice in your work? How did your voice come about? Because you definitely have a voice.
Yeah. I think it's, just connecting to something that Donovan was saying. There is this evolution, this constant evolution. One of my mentors is 76 this year, and he says he wishes he had more lifetimes because he's just starting to figure it out.
Wow.
And he's been doing this since he was 17. So to really understand that the voice itself, for me, is something that is not stagnant. It's something that grows with you. So the voice I have today is not the voice I had 5 years ago, is not the voice that I had 20 years ago. But also, I think our voices are a composite of where we come from. So when we think of voice, I think about my mother, I think about my father, I think about my grandparents, I think about the community. So I'm always drawing from these various wells. I think the place of, even if you think about Imbongi, for example, in society, it's not to be this individual who's the, shining star. There's not only a commitment, but an obligation to community. To say that the things that I'm saying are things that belong, and especially because it's a tradition. Uba Imbongi is a tradition. I'm not Imbongi in that sense. That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
But it's a tradition of things that have been passed down. It's about archiving. It's about being a kind of repository of knowledge that spans generations. So I always think that our voices themselves are, whether you're drawing from bell hooks and Old Lord, or you're drawing from Umakazi, Umakulu, you're speaking about your grandmother. Our voices are shaped. And so it's very difficult to just be in isolation as an artist. As much as I think that's kind of a Western notion of artistry. It's complicated because we're not just the community. But I think I find that the more I connect to community, the more my voice and work is refined. Because I suddenly understand that it belongs to a larger context, and I have a responsibility that I carry with me. And so that's why my work tends to have kind of provocation, because sometimes, yes, it certainly is about that suspension of concern, but sometimes it's me saying, come, we are so distracted. We are everything is moving past us. Our own lives are moving past us. So let's sit and actually pay very close attention to what concerns us so that we can feel through it together as people, and then see what comes out on the other end and who we can be, and hopefully closer and more connected as a result.
It locates you, I think. It locates you in a time and a place and a history. And that's actually what shapes your message. I'm sure. Like, that's actually where you draw your ideas and what becomes your voice. Over
so
time.
for example, with this, I published my first collection last year. And I've had questions, like, we had people, when's the book coming out? When's the book coming out? For years. I was like, hey, listen, it's not correct. And that's
the other thing. I think we're in the age of social media where it's just a constant influx of content every second of every day. If you're a musician, you've got to have 2-3 albums in 1 year. And for me, I get that. I get that we are now in a digital space, and there's people like Donovan that do it very well. And then there's sometimes where the art needs you to sit with it.
Needs to breathe.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, there are albums that I will listen to on the first listen and it won't mean anything. But on the 5th, 7th listen, I'll be like, whoa. And each song, is bringing out different parts of whatever the album is discussing.